Hello and welcome to the 12 Months Marathon podcast with me, John Hill, the running podcast for the over 35s with Marathon Dreams. Episode 87. I am joined by a very special guest today. I'm joined with Anthony Bryan, who is going to tell us his story. It's a fascinating story by the looks of it, and I'm really looking forward to getting into it. So just before we carry on, Anthony's on the No Limits Athlete on Instagram, so I highly recommend you go and follow him. Obviously, we'll pop all the stuff in the description, but yeah, the No Limits Athlete on Instagram. Now, I'll tell you how I came across Anthony. It was interesting actually because you know how the algorithms and so work on Instagram. I saw this guy doing high rocks walking lunges, and I've done as some of you know, the listeners, I've done high rocks a couple of times myself, and I just saw this guy basically doing the sandbag lunges, which is a very difficult part of high rocks. On one side of his body, and I just thought, well, that's interesting. I always love people who do stuff like that, in any condition, let alone. And I just thought, let's have a little look. So I had a little look, dug into it, and then obviously the whole story came out. I had a look through Anthony's profile. I thought, yep, that's definitely someone who I want to speak to. So Anthony is a brain tumor and stroke survivor. He's a power athlete and personal trainer, motivational speaker, and also a Guinness World Record holder, which we'll get into. And he also did London Marathon 24. Is that right?
24 and 25.
Oh, you did 25 as well. Yeah, I know it was 24 because I did it in 24 as well, funnily enough. So I did notice 24. So I'll let Anthony do that. So thank you very much for joining me, Anthony. How are you today?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm really good, thanks.
No, you're welcome. You're welcome. So if you don't mind, let's go back to the start. Just tell your quite incredible story.
Yeah, so from the beginning, I was a very sporty, active child, always running around, always loved playing football, very active. Until the age of about 6, I started to get really bad headaches, and I went from being very active to just curling up a ball and holding my head all the time. And when I went to the doctors were just like, "Oh, it's migraines. You'll be okay. Just give me some paracetamol, send me on my way."
Yeah.
But these headaches over time got worse and worse. And after about of a month of just going back and forth, we had a brain scan and they found out that I had a brain tumor the size of a golf ball. And this brain tumor is shutting down my vital organs. So I had to have an operation almost immediately to remove this tumor. And during the operation to remove the tumor, I suffered a stroke, and that paralyzed the left side of my body,
Right.
from my arm and my leg and my vision. And the doctor said to my parents, unfortunately, Anthony, he'll never run, he'll never be very active ever again. And for a 6-year-old child, all they want to do is run around and play games. And
Yeah.
that was kind of devastating. So I was bedbound, I was wheelchair bound. I had to relearn how to live life with one arm and one leg. And that was just a kind of like devastating, threw my whole world upside down, really.
Right.
I was kind of away from school for a good 6 months. So I didn't even get to engage with any of my friends at school. So I was kind of just hospital appointments all the time, physio appointments, and I hated it. But I was very stubborn. If you tell a child you can't do this, you can't do that, a child's gonna go, yes, I can. I'll show you. And that was kind of me.
Yeah.
So when the doctor said you'll never run or be very active again, it was kind of, I'll show you I can kind of thing. And eventually when I got to go back to school, I was the only disabled kid in the whole school at the time. So teachers were very worried to let me go out in the playground at lunchtime. So I used to remember sitting in the classroom watching all my friends running around. And even though all my friends did their best to include me in everything they did, for me, it just wasn't the same. And I remember watching them running around and thinking to myself, why did I survive this operation? Why am I still alive? Why am I here? I wish I'd never survived this brain tumor. And I was only like 6 or 7 at the time. And in PE lessons, teachers, we had a football lesson, and teachers were like, I said to the teachers, I can't run around, but I'll go in goal. And the teachers just said, you can't go in goal. You need 2 hands to go in goal. So I kind of stayed away from sport, stayed away from football because I was told I couldn't do it. And it wasn't until I went to secondary school and we had a Cooper test, a Cooper fitness test, which is how far can you run in 12 minutes? How many laps can you do around a football pitch in 12 minutes? And I just kind of said to myself, it'd be way too embarrassing for me to come last. I can't let the overweight kids who don't do any exercise beat me in this. So I just ran off as hard as I could. I was like 12 minutes. I just got to keep going. And out of 30 kids, I was the only one with a disability and I finished like 15th. So my teacher came up to me afterwards, like, how did you do that? That is incredible. I was like, I don't know, I just didn't want to come last. I had no kind of idea of what I'd done. I just didn't want to come last. And he said to me, you need to get yourself into the Paralympics. You'd be amazing at that. And my reaction was, what's the Paralympics? I've never heard of it, never seen it. It wasn't on TV then. And he said, it's like the Olympics, but for people with disabilities. You would be amazing at the Paralympics and running. And because I was so shy and self-conscious of my disability, my reaction was, no, that's something I definitely don't want to do. Why do I want to do a sport that shows off my disability? So I said, no, I don't want to do that. So he said, let me speak to your parents. And he called my parents into the school. And the first thing he said was, get that boy into a running club. Just get that boy into a running club. And for my parents, they've always been told, you can't do this, you can't do that. So now be told, just do it. They were like, okay, we'll give it a go. So they signed me up to a running club and I met this coach and she was like, I've never trained anyone with a disability, but I'm willing to learn. I can learn from you, you can learn from me. Let's just go on a journey and see what we can do. So I started training with the able-bodied athletes, started with sprinting, and I was miles behind the others. But what I loved was they really included me in the sessions. They'd wait for me at the finish line, then we walk back, we do our next set. And they made me feel like I was part of the group. And I trained over and over and over. I went to my first disability athletics race, and this opened up my eyes because I was in such an able-bodied school, able-bodied world. I'd never met any other disabled people doing sport. And when I went to this competition, there was people with no arms, no legs, wheelchairs, going out there to compete, doing amazing things. And I was like,
Sorry, Anthony, how old were you then when you went to the first games? How old was that? How old were you then?
I was about 18,
18.
19 then.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'd gone through all of school, not being let to do sport or anything like that until I got to about 16, and they were like, you need to go and do this. And it took me probably about 3 years of testing. Then I went to the disability games and I won a gold medal in the 100 meters and the long jump. And I was like, this is amazing. And they were like, you should, 2012 is in 2 years. You should put some hard training in, see if you can really get there. So I went back to my coach. I was like, I want to get there. And we put some training in. I got faster. I started winning some medals in different competitions. And I got to the Paralympic trials at 2012, held at the Olympic Stadium. And in the 100 meters and the 200 meters, and I finished fourth in the trials. But top three get selected to go to the Paralympics. So I just missed out.
Right.
But this was an incredible achievement because it opened up my eyes and it was in front of a big crowd. I was like, this is amazing. So I then didn't get selected, but I thought I was still want to be part of this. So I put my name down to be a volunteer at the Olympics and the Paralympics. And what I learned was it was amazing walking out alongside Usain Bolt and the crowd going crazy. And I was like, wow. But when the Paralympians walked out, the crowd were even louder. And I said to the guy next to me, why is it that the crowd are louder for the Paralympians more than the Olympians? And he said, well, if you think about it, they have to do the same training, the same diets. And the Olympians, all they have to do is they have to train hard and sacrifice this, which is hard. But the Paralympians have to do that. But they have got added difficulty because they're missing a limb or they might be in a wheelchair. The Olympians can't do what the Paralympians do. And I was like, oh, I've never really thought of it like that. And that kind of opened up my mind. I was like, I need to stop hiding and shying away from who I am and show what I can do. And that opened up my eyes. So after the Paralympics was finished, I was so inspired, like this fire lit in front of me, inside of me. And I said to my coach, I want to be there next time. So I put in extra training, trained harder. And she said to me, okay, so you're slightly slower off the start line than the others because you can't use your weaker side. But once you get going, you've got some really good speed. So why don't we try something like 800 meters or 1500 meters? And I just said, 1,500 meters, that sounds like a million miles. I can't run that far. And she just said to me, how do you know you can't run that far if you've never tried? Just give it a go and see how you feel. So I gave it a go. And my first session was like 400-meter reps. And I just remember even the girls that were half the size of me, like 7, 8-year-olds, were flying past me and I was at the back and I was like, this is embarrassing. But I just made sure I did every single rep. And I managed to get through it. And my coach was like, how did it go? And I was like, awful. The little ones are going past me. And something she said that I always remember, she said, you can't go in there and expect to be the absolute best when you haven't even put the work in. They might be younger and smaller than you, but they've been trained for years to do what they do. She said, give it a go for the next few months. And if you still hate it, you can always go back to sprinting. So I did. I gave it a go, put the work in, and gradually I got quicker and quicker and fitter. And I think what the biggest thing was, I just started to believe in myself that actually I can do this.
Mm.
And I was keeping up with the others. And that year in 2015, I got selected to represent England at the Cerebral Palsy World Games, where I won gold medal in the 800 meters and the 1500 meters.
Amazing.
So I'd gone from thinking it's impossible to do that to now being a world champion.
Awesome.
And that really flipped my mindset. I'd gone from thinking, the doctor said I'd never run or be very active ever again. Now I'm a world champion in the 800 and 1500. So how much more were they wrong? How much further can I push myself? And I started doing 5K races, 10K races, and I completed them. It was really, really hard, but I completed them. And then in 2024, I thought, what way can I push myself even more and prove those doctors wrong even more? And then
Yeah.
what's one of the biggest races out there? Biggest challenging is the marathon. And I live in London. So what better race to do than the London Marathon? So I put my name down. I didn't get a ballot place. And then it said, oh, if you don't get a ballot place, you can get a charity spot. So I looked up all the charities and I saw Stroke Association, and I've had a stroke. So I thought, how amazing would it be to do a marathon and then try and inspire other stroke survivors
Yeah.
at the same time?
Mhm.
So I went, put my name down for the charity, and they came back to me and said, we would love for you to represent the Stroke Association. So I started doing my training and it was going really, really well. And then about 2 weeks before the marathon, I got an email saying, have you ever thought about going for a world record at a marathon? And search here for all the different categories, like wearing costumes or whatever, fastest marathon, putting t-shirts on and things like that. And I was like, let's still have a little look what disability records there are. And so I looked through all of them and there was a marathon world record for my disability. So I was like, oh, let's have a look. And the time was 5 hours 50. And at that time I was running a half marathon about 2 hours. So I was like, oh, I can actually go for this. And so I
Yeah.
said to my guide runner, I was like, oh, I think we should go for this. And he was like, absolutely, let's do this. How amazing would it be to do your marathon, inspire stroke survivors and brain tumor survivors and break a world record? So all the training went really well. We'd done our 20-mile prep run for the race. We'd done our tapering, got to race day and we had a plan, but the plan didn't go to plan. So it never really does, but this was a tough one. So we were planning to keep it 10, 11-minute miles, which would give me about 4.5, 5 hours marathon. And we set off on the marathon. So the first 6 miles of the London Marathon is slightly downhill.
Yeah.
So you feel like you're absolutely flying. And this is really good and just coasting along. And we was well ahead of the world record pace at that point. And then I got to mile 6 and I wear a leg brace on my weaker leg. And this leg brace has started digging into my leg and it created a cut. And it's now rubbing up and down against my cut. And we still have 20 miles to go and there's blood just leaking down my leg. And I said to my guide runner, I was like, mate, I need to take this brace off. It's killing me. And he looked at me and went, you've never run without it. Are you sure you want to take it off? We've got 20 miles to go. I was like, just get it off. So we took the brace off and now I have no push or support from my weaker side. So I'm only using my one arm and one leg to push and pull. And from mile 7 to mile 8, I completely depleted all of my energy stores because I'm working so hard with the one
Yeah.
side of my body. I'm using double the amount of energy. So I've used up all my energy stores. And there's a video where he asked me, "How you feeling?" I was like, "I'm knackered. Only 8 miles in, I've got no energy. I'm knackered. I have to take my brace off. I'm hobbling. There's like blood trickling down my leg. I'm not even halfway yet." But I carry on hobbling on, and now my time's going from faster than world record to now slower than the world record, and that world record time's creeping back up on me again. We get to halfway, 13 miles, and I'm just on par with the world record. We get to 14 miles, and I get cramp in my good leg. So now I've got a leg that's got no support brace on it, and my good leg now got cramp in it, and I'm in a bad way because it's working so hard. I've depleted all this energy and now the muscles are struggling. And then I get to mile 50 and I get cramp in my good leg, in the calf, the hamstring, and the quad. So now I really can't really use my good leg. And I'm stopping, I'm stretching. My guide runner's spraying deep heat on my muscles. We have no supply. So every time we're running past jelly babies, we're grabbing as much as we can.
Yeah.
And my mile pace is like 13, 14 minutes a mile at this point, and I'm slowing a lot down. But had to keep going. And my guide runner tells me about mile 17 is this, and I think we got to pull out. We've got 8 miles to go, and you're in a bad, bad way. Like my job's to keep you safe. We need to pull out. And I just said to him, "No, I can't stop. I need to keep going." All I could think about was all the people that come to support me, my family, my friends, that stroke association. Didn't want to let those stroke survivors down.
Mm.
But most of all, I didn't want those doctors that told me you'll never run or be very active again to be right. I wanted to prove them wrong to the highest point. So I just kept soldiering on. I'm limping big time. And I just kept going. We get to the last mile, and my guide runner turns to me and goes, "Anne, you've got 1 mile to go, and you have 10 minutes to get to that finish line." Now, 10-minute mile is normally no problem for me, but both my legs are working.
Yeah.
I'm exhausted. We're about 4, 5 hours in at this point, and he's like, "Come on, keep pushing up." I managed to speed it up just a bit, but cramp keeps kicking in every time. And then in London, this is like the best part of London Marathon. You get to the mile where you turn the corner, you look
Yeah.
down the mile, you see
Yeah.
the finish line.
Yeah.
It's 200 yards away, but it still seems so far away.
Yeah.
And my guide runner turns to me and goes, "And you've got 1 minute. If you want this world record, it's now or never. You have to sprint everything you got. It's now or never." And I don't know, just the inner sprinter came out from my sprinting days, and I just went for it. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm midair, and I'm like, if I get cramped now, I'm hitting the floor. But I just had to keep pushing. I kept pushing and pushing and pushing. I'm weaving in and out of people. My guide runner is screaming, come on, keep going." And I just about squeezed past that finish line. And my watch had died. His phone had died. His watch had died. We're like, "Have we done it? It's close. I don't know." And what they say to you is you've got to walk over to the Guinness World Record tent, whether you've done it or not, and they'll let you know. So we walked over, and it goes silent, and they check all their iPads,
Yeah.
and then we're like, and it goes, "New Guinness World Record, 2 hours, 49 minutes." So it's literally 49 seconds I had been invite.
Yeah.
So it was that close. And
Brilliant.
how I did it, I can't tell you. I really don't know, but it was that moment where he said, "Now or never, just go." And I just had to give everything.
Brilliant. Amazing. And then you went back and did it again?
So in 2025, yes, I was like, so after the London Marathon, I got an email saying, "Oh, congratulations, you won an award." And I thought it was spam. And I was like, "What award's this?" And he's like, "You've won the Spirit of the London Marathon Award." And I was like, "What's that?" And I looked into it, and it's awarded to only one or two people per marathon,
Oh, wow.
and it's for people that embodied the spirit of the London Marathon. So I looked up previous winners, and it was like Mo Farah, Paula Radcliffe, David Weir. And it's like, you're now mentioned on the list with these people. And I was like, wow. And they're like, as part of this award, you now get free entry to marathon for life. So I was like, is that a curse or is that a grandson? That
Brilliant. Yeah. So you can literally just like you can enter every you can just go and do it every year now. Is that what that gives you?
yes,
Okay,
yes,
cool.
yes.
Yeah, cool.
So I'm in a predicament. Do I have to do it every year for the rest of my life? Or every 5 years they do a big anniversary year where they have a big medal and celebration. So I'm thinking I'd probably just go for the big anniversary ones.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but I did do London Marathon in 2025 the next year as well. And again, I was training for it. I was like, right, I want to beat my own time. And because cramp held me back so much, I want to focus on doing the whole marathon without cramp. So I want more gels. I have to, because I'm using one side of my body, I'm burning double the amount of calories of a normal runner. So a runner might burn 4,000 calories in a marathon. I worked out I was burning 8,000 calories
Wow.
in a marathon. So I'd have to eat. So my guide runner was carrying it always cut up flapjacks. We'd had Lucozades, we'd had water. So he's doing a marathon, but he's carrying extra weight on his back
Yeah,
as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
So with every mile, we're feeding the body and the system.
Mm.
But a week before the marathon, when I did my 20-mile prep run, I got a stress fracture in my ankle. And so my tendons had swollen up
Yeah.
and it was really, really painful. And I went to get it scanned, and the people and the doctors were saying, "Don't run. It'll be silly to run." But of course, I didn't listen, and I did run.
Yeah.
And we kind of abandoned the idea of going for a record. It was like, because of your ankle, let's just get it done and get to the finish line. So it was a completely different setup for the race.
Yeah.
It was like, let's just keep it steady and get through it. So and that was kind of more enjoyable. You can enjoy it a bit more instead of just pounding the streets. I actually did 6 hours and 5 minutes. So it wasn't even that far off. It was like 10, 12 minutes off my actual world record pace. And it happened to be 27 degrees on that day.
Oh,
And
25. Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, it was the heat, wasn't it? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
people were passing out in the middle of the road. It's like a zombie apocalypse. Like, there was bodies lying in the road. It was quite dangerous, to be fair. It was
Yeah.
quite scary,
Yeah.
but got through it. And I'm gonna go on a different challenge this year, but I will definitely go back to a marathon maybe next year or a year after.
Yeah. Okay. What is the challenge? Let's keep it relevant. What's the challenge you're going for this year then?
High Rocks. So the High Rocks World Championships.
Okay. So I've got a few questions, but let's go for this one first. So you've have you actually qualified for High Rocks World Championships?
So to get to the High Rocks World Championships, you have to be top three in the world rankings, and
Yeah.
currently I'm third.
And what excuse me, what category is that in?
So it's the neurological major. So
Okay.
you have a neurological condition, so it's like a stroke survivor or someone with a brain injury
Gotcha.
or
Okay.
cerebral palsy.
Yeah. And how many times have you done High Rocks?
I've done 4 events at the moment,
Right.
and each time I've got a time, they've been in the top three in the world rankings.
Okay.
So I should qualify. As long as you're in top three by June, then you're qualified.
Oh wow. Okay.
I've got
Because
enough High
yeah,
Rocks next
I didn't know
weekend.
they had special categories for that. Because obviously when you apply for it, you don't see when I've applied for it, you don't actually see those categories. I don't
Yeah.
see those
So
categories. So yeah.
it's a brand new thing that happened just last year.
Oh, is it? Okay, cool, brilliant.
They have just introduced last year disability categories. So I'd love to go in it and then be that the guy that shows other people with disabilities to get involved in IROCs.
Absolutely, absolutely. What was your I'm interested because I've done it myself. What was your time? What was your best time?
My best time was 47 minutes.
Okay.
But with the different disability categories, they adapt the whole IROC. So for me, instead of running 1K, I run 400 meters.
Okay, right.
So but I do the same kind of 1 kilometer on the skier, 1 kilometer on the road, but I do the same stations. I just run 400 meters.
Oh, so it's a shorter run, but the same stations.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I mean, you can't really make High Rocks that easy. It's just even with that, it's still ridiculous. So, oh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. So, Thank you for that. So if we go back to like when you were 6, how long were you in a wheelchair for?
About 3 months, 3 to
3
6
oh, okay, 3
months.
months.
Yeah.
So what was it? So where did that initial "I'm not gonna let this beat me" come from, Anthony? Was that your upbringing? What was it that
Um, Stubbornness, I think,
Yeah.
because I remember being wheeled around. We got tickets to go and see the Gladiators one weekend with
Right.
my family, and I remember being wheeled around in this wheelchair, and I hated like just being down at everyone's kind of bum height, and all I could see was people's bums around, and I was like, "Oh, that's just annoying."
Yeah.
And I hated it. I just want to walk around and be normal. And I had two younger brothers at home, and with brothers, you have big sibling rivalries.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
they were always in the garden playing football, and I just wanted to be out in the garden playing football. So when I went to go and join them, they would go easy on me. So like to go in goal, you have to hit the crossbar. If you don't want to go in in the goal, you have to hit the crossbar. Otherwise, you're going in goal. So there's things like that, and
Yeah.
go tough on each other and things. So that kind of helps me kind of push myself further. And I went to an able-bodied school, so I had to keep up with everyone. And I hated being last or the one left behind. So I always had to be up against able-bodied people. So that kind of pushed me on as well.
Yeah.
And then I started realizing I can do more than I thought. And it was when I got the gold at the World Championships. That's when I realized I can do even more. My body can do even more. I was kind of in my comfort zone. I was like, I wonder how much further I can push. But I still don't think I've reached my full kind of capacity. I think
Yeah.
there's more in me. People have said to me, would you ever think I'd do an ultra? But I couldn't even imagine doing an ultra.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but I said the marathon would be impossible, but who knows?
Absolutely, I mean, I mean, it's a very small percentage of everybody that does a marathon. So, yeah, it's
Yeah.
an achievement. So, I mean, because it's interesting, because my son's 6, so I'm just I'm trying to process it in my own head. You know what how a 6-year-old would deal with that. Um, so what when the doctors like because you've obviously you've got I mean, I can't remember a great deal from, but obviously with I suppose within an event like that, I suppose you can remember more of it. I'm imagining
Yeah.
it's quite a big deal. So
Mm.
when that happened and the doctor said, was it like a matter of we don't think you'll ever walk again? Was it at that level, or was it a touch and go? Or was it was there any definitives? Do you know what I mean? Was it a did they tell you?
They'll just kind of put you in this box. They're like, "Oh, you
Yeah,
can't use your left arm or your left leg anymore.
yeah,
You'll be able to walk, but just about, and you won't be very active, or you won't be able to run." And that was it.
right, okay. And was the brain tumor, was that just did that just come out of nowhere? Was there any hereditary element? Was it just like out the blue?
No, it's just no one knows where it came from, and yeah, it's a mystery. No,
Right, okay, okay. And
yeah,
how did your parents deal with that at the time, if you don't mind me asking? Because obviously I imagine that
they,
I'll frame that question correctly in the sense of because to do what you've done, I imagine there perhaps would have been a very strong family bond there, because for you
mm,
to be able to pull through that
yes,
and then obviously go and do what you've got to do. So what was the dynamic there, if you don't mind me asking?
yeah. So obviously they were absolutely devastated when they heard the
Of
news.
course.
Obviously I'm their firstborn. There's got a brain tumor, and I remember my mum saying to me they had to sign papers in case I died on the operation table
Yeah.
and things like that. And it's like, wow. And obviously they were then being told he won't do this, he won't do that. But my mum and my dad were very supportive. They would always push me into doing things. My mum was always looking around for things for me to do. And she found this exercise group which was for stroke survivors.
Okay.
And she took me along there. And this was actually a big moment for me, because I was a child, and in stroke survivors were all mainly like 50-year-olds, 60-year-olds. And we've gone to this exercise class, and there's a bodybuilder out there who's teaching the class. And I got chatting to him afterwards. And he said to me, I had a stroke as well. I had a stroke when I was 22, 23, and I was a bodybuilder. Um, And he said to me, he started giving me exercises to do. And I was like, I can't do that. And he said, that's nonsense. Don't believe what the doctors say. You can do this and you can do that. And I really looked up to him. So I looked up to him, and this guy with big muscles, and I was like, I want to be like that. So he was a role model to me, and I didn't have any other role models really. So that was a big kind of turning page for me. I looked up to him, and whenever I was struggling with something or doing something, my mum would always say to me, be like Baz. And
Right.
so I always aimed to be like him. She's like, you see how like strong he is? You can be that strong.
Yeah.
He's had a stroke like you. So I really looked up to him. So he was my role model.
So when you that's interesting. So when you went to that particular thing, then do you think that was the thing that made you go down the more exercise route? So instead of just because the question I was going to ask was how did you go from just like because for most people just surviving that would be an achievement, but you went to like thriving. So do you think it was that influence with the exercise that made you think, oh, I can go and
100%. Yeah.
okay,
So I looked forward to going to his exercise classes.
right,
And then like we got on really, really well. And he was just always encouraging me to do more exercise. And he said a phrase to me, no pain, no gain. Whenever you feel that pain, keep pushing through because you will gain amazing things when you push through that pain. And I actually have that written on my wall even now. And that's been a phrase I've always remembered. And I've really looked up to him. The fact that I work in the fitness industry now, it's because when I was growing up, my mum was like, what job do you think you'd like to go into? Would you like to be a trainer like Baz? And I was like, yeah, I'd love to be a trainer like
yeah,
Baz.
yeah,
So I'm now the Baz now that he was for them. So I now do stroke exercise classes. I do exercise classes for people with disabilities. I work in the gym and I help other people get fit.
yeah,
So my aim was to be like him. So
yeah.
having a role model at younglings was a big thing.
So you're because obviously me as well. Well, you're a qualified personal trainer, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. How long you been a trainer for?
So I qualified in 2011. Actually, yeah, there's a big story to that. How I got into
Yeah, please do. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, that's what.
this.
Yeah, I'm interested. Yeah, yeah. Tell me.
So I qualified. So I did with my qualification as a personal trainer. I was 21 and I'd done all my courses, done all my assessments, and the teacher's like, "You're going to go on to do great,
Just
amazing
to
things."
interject, was that just a traditional training, personal training qualifications? So there
Yeah,
was,
just
yeah,
a
okay, fine.
YMCA.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, YMCA. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah,
So I did the normal course. I was again the only disabled person on the course, and the teachers were like, "There's no one in the industry with disabilities. We think you would be amazing. You're going to go on to do really great things, and we love seeing you push yourself and help others." And I was excited. It's like, yes, I want to go apply for every job I can and get a job in the gym and help people train. So I applied for loads and loads of jobs. My first job I went to, and they were like, you haven't got enough experience. So then I went away and got some experience. I then volunteered in a few gyms, had some more job interviews, and then it was saying, you don't really look the part. You haven't got the image we're looking for. And I was like, okay, so then I went away and I went to the biggest gym I could find in London, which was the YMCA. It's got like 4 different floors, and I was like, "Train me up. I just want to be better." So I volunteered. I started giving inductions, helping people train, and then they were like, "Ever thought about teaching exercise classes?" And I was quite shy and self-conscious. I
mm,
was like, I don't want to be like shouting and telling people what to do." They're like, "Oh, give it a go." So I was like, "Oh, okay, I'll give it a go." And they were really good. They eased me in slowly. They're like, "Hey, do the warm up, and then someone else will come and teach the class." Then they're like, "Do the warm up and do half the class, then someone else will do it." And they were watching me and assessing me as I was doing it. They would give me feedback as I was doing it. And then I did my full class, and they gave me feedback and said, "Try this, try that." And then my class started becoming really popular. So I was doing like an ab class every Friday. I was doing this all voluntarily as well. And my abs class came the most popular one of the week. And still jobs were turning me down, saying, and then I had one job with you, but one guy was like, "Look, I'll be honest with you. You can't lift weights with two hands. How do you expect to teach others?" I was like, "I already teach classes. I lift with one arm. I'll say, you guys do it with two arms. Keep that posture up, straight back, and I'll explain it all." And he just said, "I don't believe it can be done like that." And I was just like, oh, I've been volunteering for 4 years then. and I've been doing the actual job, but no one would employ me properly.
Right.
So my parents actually went, and I think it's time to just knock it on the head. I'd done 30 to 40 job interviews, and it all said the same thing. So I actually gave up after that one. And I just worked in Morrison's supermarket, stacking shelves and things like that. And I hated it so much. And then the year after that, I saw this job advert come up in a gym, but as a receptionist. And I thought, it's not what I want to do, but at least it's a step in the door
Yeah. Yeah.
and in a fitness industry. So I applied for I got the reception job and I worked on reception, and it's still, I hated it because I was getting all these complaints. Why is the pool dirty? Why is the gym dirty? Why is this not working? And I was like, I just want to help people get fit.
Yeah.
But I still kept volunteering, teaching my classes on the side. And it happened by accident. One day, um, one of the class instructors called in sick, and the manager's come out and she's like, "Oh my God, I've got a class of 30 people upstairs. The instructor's not coming in today. I'm going to have to cancel over. What am I going to do?" I was like, "I'm qualified to teach that class, and I actually teach that class every week in my other gym. Do you want me to go cover it?" She's like, "Oh, please, please, please. Yes, yes, yes." So I've got changed, run up there, and there's a class of about 30 women. It was like legs, bums, and tums or something like that. I was
Yeah.
like, "Right, my name's Anne. I've been doing this for the last so many years. This is what I'm going to be doing." And as I turned around and put the music on and got it all set up, I can hear all these conversations behind me. And there's people saying, "What? He's teaching? Oh no, I actually want to do a workout today. I'm going to go to the gym instead." And as I turned around to get ready, out of 30 women, only 10 had stayed. So
No.
20 had left.
Right.
And at that moment, I was there's two options. Either you give up and you think, "Oh, there's no point doing this. I'm a terrible trainer." But what I thought to myself was, forget those that have gone. These 10 people have stayed. So I want to give them everything I've got, every bit of knowledge I've got. I'm going to throw it into this class. So I really went hard, and I was like, squat, down, and push, pull in everything I could, everything I knew. And they came up to me after and was like, "Oh, that was a really amazing class. I think you're actually better than the original person." I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
thanks very much.
Yeah.
I'm only covering for today." But it just happens that that class teacher was off sick for 4 months. And the manager said to me, "Look, she's away. Do you want this class? It's just covering for the next few months, but do you want it?" I was like, "Yes, definitely, please." And the next few times I taught it, word started to spread around the gym that this was actually a really good class. And it got busier and busier to a point where it got fully booked, and people were complaining they couldn't get onto my class.
Brilliant.
Yeah. And then it turned out that this woman left the gym. So they're like, "It's your class if you want it full time." So I
Yeah.
had it then. And then they said, "There's actually a role in the gym as well. Do you want to work in as a gym instructor?" I was like, "Yes, finally." It took me 12 years to get
Wow.
one job in the gym.
Incredible. Yeah. Incredible.
And
Incredible.
now I've been working in the last few years. Yeah.
Oh, so you're still at that gym doing that now?
I'm still at the gym doing now. And
Ah, okay. Right.
I started making up my own new classes. So when lockdown happened, so I got the job and then lockdown happened just
Yeah, of
before.
course. Yeah.
And then lockdown, I kind of went on a newer fitness training adventure where you saw Joe Wicks doing all the exercise classes for the kids and the families. But on the news, all you heard was, the poor elderly, the vulnerable, disabled, they can't go out, they can't do anything. So I was like, why don't I be the Joe Wicks for the people with the disabilities? So I set up a YouTube channel, and I started doing chair workouts from home. And I ended up getting 2,000 people every morning on my live home workouts, on my chair workouts. So Joe Wicks was doing the kids and the families, so I was doing the disabilities and the stroke and all of those. And they'll say, "This is amazing. Thank you so much for keeping me active, stuck at home." And then when the gyms reopened, I told my manager, I was like, "This is what I've been doing." He's like, "Let's recreate that in the gym." So we started a chair workout class, which didn't exist. And I have so many older adults that come and do my class that they were complaining that only one class a week wasn't enough. So now I do 9 classes a week.
Right.
And I'm probably the only one with definitely the borough doing older adult stuff. And I'm still doing my YouTube channel. posting workouts, and people, I had a message from this lady saying, me and my husband really love your classes. He had a stroke. He did all through lockdown your classes. Me and him do your classes even now together. We just really love it. Thank you so much for creating. So my future aim now is to try and own my own gym
Yeah.
for people with disabilities, older adults, Parkinson's, strokes, either those that are too intimidated to go to a gym.
Yeah.
I'd love them to come to me and create an environment for them to get, because especially child obesity is on a massive rise at the moment. So I'd love to tackle that as well.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you follow on that note? Do you know the guys at Boxwave? Have you seen those guys on Instagram? The guys who did the child obesity thing?
Yes, yeah, I've seen
Yeah,
them. They're really cool.
yeah, they're cool. They're cool guys. Yeah, so I'll give them a shot. I don't know these guys by the way, but it's just every morning I see what they do, and because I think because I was an overweight kid myself. I always look at that and think that's incredible what those guys do. Box wave, because that takes a lot of courage. That does because
Yeah.
there's a lot of I know from being overweight myself, most of my well up until the age of 28, there's a lot of stigma attached, particularly with overweight kids, because there's a lot of like, potential judgment there. Or are the parents to, all that sort of stuff, whether that's true or not. Yeah, so I think that's a really really worthwhile endeavor. So that would be a definite good thing to get into. So, and the amount of times I've been asked for it,
Especially as
yeah,
I've got a world record. Maybe I could inspire those kids. Yeah.
absolutely at 100%,
Yeah. So if
100%.
yeah,
100%. Brilliant. What a story.
I've been doing talks in schools recently.
Okay. Yeah. Good. Well, I think that's good. Well, I would say that's good because I think
That'd
the
be
age
fun
you
to
were when that happened to you to come back from that, particularly at that, I mean, at any age, but
they
particularly
can relate with
when,
it.
yeah, when you're forming a lot of beliefs around the world and things like that, when you're at that age to come through it from that and do what you've done is nothing short of remarkable. So, okay. Thank you. What an amazing story. So a couple of final questions from me, which I always ask. So the first question I would ask is, and this can be, if there's somebody out there who is, let's say, they are suffering some real adversity in their life, whatever that might be physical, mental, whatever it might be, some real adversity that they feel is holding them back, or potentially they've been told they can't do this or they can't do that, but there's a potential that they actually could do it. What would you say to that person?
I would say give everything a go in life, because you'll find by giving everything a go what you're good at and what you're bad at. If you don't give everything a go, you would probably never find that thing that you are good at. I thought running 1,500 meters or more was impossible, and I would never have given it a go unless I just gave it a try. So give everything a try, even if someone says you can't do it. Give it a try, because you might not be able to do it to this ability, but if you do it to that bit ability, then it's better than not doing it at all, and you'll learn new things. Either learn you do it or learn it's not for you. Just give everything a go. That would be my advice. And what makes you unique makes you stand out. What I've learned is my disability is my superpower because it makes me different.
Yeah.
If you want to stand out and grow, then you got to use what your uniqueness. So I stand out because I can do things with one arm and one leg more than those that can able-bodied. So I'm using my uniqueness as my standing out and my superpower, really. And I can use it to inspire and motivate others. So don't shy away, and just stand out and really be you and give it everything you've got and give everything a go. Because what's the worst that can happen? You'll learn.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I often say the only thing that really gets hurt is your pride.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
If you fail at something and you have a go, it's just your pride that gets hurt, really. It doesn't really.
Yeah. And you just move on to the next thing.
Exactly. I say to marathon runners all the time, like, because when I coach marathon runners, I say to them, I say, oh, what if I don't finish? And what if I said the only thing that will get hurt is your pride. You can
Yes.
always go. You can always go again. You can always go.
100%. And
Yeah,
you've learned from your first one, the
absolutely.
mistakes or the things that you didn't do, and you bring it on to the next one. And then you keep
Absolutely.
learning and learning and learning, then you will get there.
Absolutely. What I found was particularly in London Marathon 25 and Manchester 25, because they were because it was unseasonably hot in this country. I
Yeah.
coached a lot of people through that, and what I found was actually it sort of reignited their passion, because they were like, "I want to go and do that again," because I knew I didn't give it my best because of the heat. So it didn't actually
Yeah.
put them off. It was like, actually, no, I want to go and see whether I can do, you know what I mean? And it actually, and that builds
It's
a
in
level
the
of
right
resilience.
conditions. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely, 100%. So let's fingers crossed for this year that, I often say it's great weather for anything except running. So let's just have a day's break, and then you can go back to being hot again. So
Yeah.
the final question for me that I ask everybody is my philosophical question: is how has this whole experience changed you?
Um, it's made me realize how like capable the human body really is. Like we all sit in our comfort zone so much without realize we think we're doing our absolute max when we're probably only going 30%. And there's so much more we can achieve, but we have to push through those pain barriers. And I was like, I've only just realized that. So it's that 100% is here. Let's say you go to work or going to the gym, that's only 20-30% of your actual capability. And you find the more you push yourself, you start unlocking more and more percentage in. You're like, wow, look what I can really do.
Yeah,
And I've really just done that recently. I'm just trying to show others, well, if I can do it, then you can do it too.
yeah. Absolutely. And I'll just have a quick side question on that tangent. What would you say is the hardest thing you've done, of the hard things you've done? It's all hard, but what's the thing that's been the hardest?
That marathon in 2024 was
The
by
first
far the
marathon. Yeah.
hardest.
Yeah.
The cramp, just the cramp everywhere,
Yeah.
and having to keep going. That was by far the hardest thing. But in my mind, I said to myself, that brain tumor ordeal that he went through was far harder than anything ever.
Yeah.
So this is just a run. Nothing will ever be as hard as that. So anything in life will never be as hard as the hardest thing you go through. So get through it and you will get through it. Just
Yeah.
remember that.
Amazing. Amazing. That's a fantastic place to stop. So anything else from you, Anthony? Anything you'd like to add?
If you want to follow my journey and my future challenges, then follow me on my Instagram, the No Limits Athlete.
Yeah.
Or if you want to see my YouTube workouts, it's Anthony Bryan Fitness.
Great, cool. I'll pop all the links in the description of that. So just to repeat, that's the No Limits Athlete on Instagram. I'll pop in the description. So please go and give Anthony some love and follow him and check out his YouTube channel. And of course, if you know anybody that's would specifically benefit from the work that he does, then please point them in the direction of Anthony as somebody that can really show them the way. So massive thank you for your time. Very inspirational. I always get inspired by these conversations because I just think it's just amazing, and knowing the events that you've done, that I've done as well, how hard they are. You've got a massive amount of respect for me, and the stories are very inspirational one, and hopefully it'll inspire people to change no matter what situation they're in. It's just having that hope that they can. So thank you for being so open, and I do appreciate it. So thank you, everybody, for listening as always. So if you're new to the podcast, please feel free to subscribe wherever you get your podcast from, Apple or Spotify. I appreciate that. If you are a long-term listener, don't forget to drop me a review on Spotify. The 4-star review on Spotify does really help. Or drop me a comment as well, and share this with your friends. If you want to follow me on Instagram, you can at 12 Months to Marathon. Please feel free to follow me over there. If you head over to Instagram and follow me, go to the link in my bio and you can join my free running community for the over 35s, where we can take you away from the noise of social media and we can connect over there and have a chat away from all, like I said, the noise of social media. We can give you some support. I do appreciate that. So, Anthony, thank you very much indeed for coming on tonight and telling your story. I appreciate you very much. And thank you to everybody for listening. And I will speak to you all again very soon indeed. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
See ya.
You're very welcome.